Greetings! I'm Rodger Newbold. Welcome to this episode, number 45 of the Experienced Photography. My fellow photographer, my partner, editor for this episode is Matt Rich. He's the man with the powerful keyboard. He's one of the most powerful people I know. He approves everything that goes on. He makes his whole vlog project operational. Are you there, my friend?
It's alive!
Excellent. Today we take a quick look at how to visualize a subject and possibly generate better quality photographs. I remember grumbling as I awoke at 3:30 a.m., to dress for our morning excursion out into nature. Trying to get dressed and gather up all my prepared pack and tripod for a 4 a.m. departure. Whoa, it seemed like a momentous effort. Finally, we're in the truck and we're in an hour's journey through the dank blackness, and we're headed to our pre-selected viewpoint. Except for the hum of the motor, there was very little talking. We cruised the lonely but familiar road with eyes fixed. You gotta spot any of those deer jumping sadistically from their brows into the beam of our headlights, trying to commit hara-kiri. As we made the final incline into the park up, the unusual magic began to surround us. Fog, a low-lying cloud at this peak. It was astonishingly thick. It gently wafted about. As we disembarked, the muffled air seemed stealthy and crept along. It just included us. We walked carefully towards the canyon edge, overwhelmed at the sense of serene beauty that encircled me. I sat and pondered how I felt, kind of like a bird in flight. Well, maybe more like a joyous angel riding a lofty cloud. Relishing the silence and imbuing the fog with anthropomorphized characteristics, I quickly forgot the earliness of our hour. Often it takes a lifetime to learn that silence is near holy. Only the brash would dare waste this moment in one of nature's great cathedrals. As the atmosphere began to thin out and the darkness rescinded, I could perceive the canyon edge and straightway set up my tripod as to capture the wisps of the departing fog, making a romantic, practically a utopian photographic equivalent of my personal thoughts. And it energized me to no end. It became my angel's ride for home, visualized later and executed as I had felt about what I saw. Previsualization provides internal direction that helps one follow through from start to finish. Take a look at the pic from the Grand Canyon clearing mist. Fortunately, Matt was tuned in to a similar wavelength. No words need to be exchanged between us. He captured his stunning vista. The picture we just viewed are examples of one style or method of making a photograph. Trying to describe to yourself how you'd like the final image to look like. Many people may not be used to appreciating or at least shooting photographs that have been intentionally conceived and then carefully composed and captured and then later crafted in such a manner as these were. In the 1920s, there was a photographer named Ansel Adams. born 1902 to 1984. He was making photographs in the Yosemite Valley of California, USA. And as you would expect, his early attempts looked nothing like the later and greater achievements that he founded. This particular photo was made in 1921. It's a view of the Yosemite Valley. Now, the composition of the valley bears its typical characteristics, but the execution of the print falls short of his hit parade of images. Now take a look at Monolith Half Dome, 1927. Years later, we see Half Dome, which certainly falls into his hit parade of images. It was more a matter of rendering and exhibiting his craft in a more mature way. What Adams discovered in that short time span set his career on fire. In Ansel's words, he put forth the definition of visualization, and I quote from his book, "The term visualization refers to the entire emotional mental process of creating a photograph, and as such, it is one of the most important concepts in photography. It includes the ability to anticipate a finished image before you make the exposure, so that the procedures employed will contribute to achieving the desired result. This much of the creative process can be practiced and learned. But beyond this lies the domain of personal vision and insight, the creative eye of the individual, which may or may not be able to be taught, is only recognized and fully encouraged. Photography involves a series of related mechanical, optical, and chemical processes which lie between the subject and the photograph of it." End quote. Now, what we glean from Ansel's writings is that there is a necessity for A, a desire to generate an artful photograph, B, a need of a level of experience in perceiving better compositions, and C, an understanding of the photographic tools and techniques that are necessary to produce a given quality and result. Adams and a small group climbed perilously to a risky point called the diving board. It's just across the canyon from Half Dome to create this image. He exhibited an extraordinary desire to make an artful photograph. He put himself in a preconceived position for an anticipated composition. And then, magic, he added a red filter over the lens of the camera, which would make the blue sky go very, very dark using black and white film. Later, in his darkroom, he proceeded with his post-production efforts. He used knowledge and skill to increase the contrast for maximum impact. Thus, his method of previsualization came into being, and he later published it and described it in all of his writings. As I expressed in our most recent past vlog, I realize your journey may not be the same as mine, and my journey certainly isn't yours. And I want to assure you that however you work at making photographs, it's fine. You did it. Yeah. We're all excited, and we're happy that you got the camera out. You made images. You shared them. That is certainly the main goal. What I am attempting here today is to express a method or another way of picture taking that may lead to quality results with less exasperation. What is there to be exasperated about? Oh, geez, only reality. Just the unsightful, smashed pop cans, water bottles, wrappers. Oh, white skies, weak color, lack of intensity, footprints, and all of the other flotsam, jetsam, and detritus of the thoughtless. Oh, it makes me mad. Here's a perfect place to share a text I received containing a suitable quote. Now, this was spotted on a marquee on an old theater. The location was unknown to me. But it said, "This is why we have art, so we don't have to die from reality." Good quote. Thanks for sending it. Here's a picture with Ansel Adams and his two versions of Moonrise Hernandez, New Mexico. On the left side, and the print above Ansel shows a straight print from the negative. That is exhibiting reality. Now, the right side print unveils the image with post-production and the work completed to display his pre-visualized desires. Oh, it's not what you see. It's what you want to see that's important. You know, remember this. Chefs don't serve raw pork. And photographers don't serve raw files. How can we take advantage of the pre-visualization process without strenuous modifications to our lives? You know, you don't need to plunge into a college degree program. Just be aware of a few small steps to improve your photography. So let's go over a few steps. Try thinking to visualize a complete photograph as daydreaming with purpose. You're just trying to find the essence of what you're looking at. You know, like looking between the weeds to see the flowers. We hear all the time, "Hey, I just wanted a snapshot to remind me that we were here." Well, you probably don't want 40 feet of pavement, the curb, 5 automobiles, and 10 pounds of sky to remind you of your hotel. Take a look at this. Find the subject and describe it well. Here's a picture by Howard Johansson, Nightmare Number 1. Howard was driving along, spied a shot. Fortunately, it was like, whoa, circle of wagons, let's get a picture. Understanding his tools led his pre-visualization to create what he saw in his mind's eye. Now here in number 2, Nightmare, Howard shows us what it could become with a little bit of pre-visualization. Good work, my friend. Now, let's take a look at the coffee shop by Howard. I love he's out driving around all day long between jobs. I mean, that's his work. But you remember, carry a camera. With just a little practice or experience, you can learn to see your subject not for what it is, but for what it might become. This is the essence of pre-visualization. Now, here's coffee shop number 2. Well, way to go, Howard. As Ansel emphasized, it's important to learn and remain current in post-production techniques and in your abilities. Now, if you feel weak or uncertain of these aptitudes, there are numerous resources available to get up to speed. So avail yourself of many opportunities everywhere to learn and practice. Up on the window, up on the screen, get current in post-production. One straightforward practice that we currently utilize is to run your eye around the perimeter of your viewfinder. Remove anything that should not be in that photograph. Yeah, I know. It required, an extra half of a second. It maybe even required a tripod or a blitz of a second thought of post-production. What would I do in Photoshop to make it better? But listen, you'll have upped your game measurably with that one quick exercise. This is one small step for visualization, and it's dead easy. By the way, it's just a good habit to get into. Remember, limits begin where vision ends. This next picture, the fin, was made to convey a delicate, fragile piece of nature that I found. It's about 6 inches tall and a 1/4 inch thick piece of sandstone, a little fin that had survived the plodding blunders of the 1,000 tourists that stumble through. In order to photograph this little guy, I had to get down on my belly, stabilize the camera on the ground using a lens cap, balance it out. This divulges that pre-visualizing a desired outcome required selecting the correct lens and the correct camera position. You can't depict the fin if you're up standing tall with a normal lens looking down on it. It just doesn't work. Visualize what you want to do before you do it. Visualization is so powerful that when you know what you want, you'll get it, said author Audrey Flack. Now, take a look at this. Jacob's ladder. What a shot. How did pre-visualization aid in the obtaining of this superlative picture by Matt? Well, first, by composing it so that the ladder was in the most dynamic of arrangements. It led the eye up and through the photograph. Second, by understanding the technical part, that water appears more stunning when the exposure time reveals it at its best. Just because you can get to a destination doesn't mean you're going to walk out with a great winner. In 2023, people took as many as 54,000 photos every second. That equated to 1.81 trillion photographs a year. Try wrapping your head around that. Approximately 3.5 trillion photographs have been taken since the first camera capture 185 years ago. It's estimated that 10% of all of the photos ever taken were taken in the last 12 months. Approximately 140 billion photos have been uploaded. 140 billion? Uploaded to Facebook. That's 10,000 times the number of photos in the Library of Congress. I find it totally unbelievable. Now, this may be good news for the photo industry, but for serious photographers, I find it just a wee bit depressing, because 99% are not really worthy of a second glance. Surely, an artistic person would not be overly excited to share some substandard image with one another. What you get from life will be direct proportion to what you put into life. The Beatles used that verse somewhere. Give it a good effort. Come on. Let's review. Find your subject and describe it well. When you know what you want, you can obtain it. Don't serve up unfinished files. And by the way, keep your raw files stored. We already did a vlog on that. Matt will put up a link back to that one. Remain current in post-production and on learning other skills. Remember, limits begin where vision ends. Serious thought and good judgment provide more excellent results. Folks, our time's up for today. Now, I really, really hope you picked up some new pointers and some great ideas about creating better quality photographs. And if you found visualizing for better quality to be helpful to you, then please share it with another friend, a new friend. Find somebody. Subscribe. Tinkle that bell. By all means, give us that big thumbs up. No Herculean tasks are required while you're photographing. Thoughtfulness and creativity isn't just a way to think. Come on, friends, it's a way to live. A way to be, a way to have your life. Now, as we part, I want to offer you a tip of my hat to you, my friends. Until we meet here again on screen, I thank you for being part of my life today, and cheerio.